All right, welcome back to Fox and Frog Board Gaming. I'm Anthony,
I'm Christy.
and today we're going through our review of Ultimate Railroads. We've sat down, we've played this a few times. We've focused primarily just on the Russian Railroad portion. We're going to dig in to those expansions a little bit later, but here's some of our initial thoughts on it today. Christy?
Okay, well, let's introduce it officially. This is Ultimate Railroads by Helmut
Yep.
Orley. Sorry, I'm butchering this. Helmut Oley and Leonard Orgler.
Yep.
And it's published by, I think it's pronounced Hans im Glück and Z-Man Games. I can do Z-Man Games.
Yeah. Sorry, I get so excited. I've enjoyed this game a lot in our few plays that we've done on it so far. So thank you for keeping me in line there.
Yep. So Ultimate Railroads actually contains 4 games.
Yep.
It contains Russian railroads, Asian railroads, German railroads, and New York railroads.
Yeah, and so again,
or American railroads.
Yeah, so German, American, and Asian, and then the original Russian railroads. And so yeah, we've only dug into playing just the 2-player version. They have a 2-player version as well as the 3-4 player.
And we only played Russian. We haven't tried the other countries.
Exactly. And we hear fantastic things about them as well, but we really enjoyed this. There's a lot of meat in this one. And that kind of gets us started in with our initial review of this is, when we sat down to play this, we had everything laid out. We did all of the initial setup for player boards and the game board, and we kept the rule book close by us. And it took a couple hours to play the first game. And we didn't know if we were making good decisions on anything. But we played through it and we scored a lot of points. Holy cow, did we score points.
Yeah. Which, when it gives you tokens that go up to over 500, I guess that's to be expected. A lot of points.
And yeah, I'm not sure. Wow. Yeah.
We didn't get past 300, so.
And we thought we were doing pretty decent. And that was by game 3. So yeah, we were close to 300 points by game 3, and game 3 only took us 45 minutes to play.
Yeah. Now we were playing 2-player, and so there's less turns, and there's only 2 of us, so I'm sure 4-player would probably still take a couple hours.
Yep. And so that's one thing to keep in mind is this does scale. So your first turn, you're scoring maybe 3 to 10 points. It's not a lot of points. And it seems like, wow, how are these people ever getting to these crazy numbers in scoring? Well, it certainly escalates. There's also multiplier tokens galore. You're throwing out plenty of those. So there's a lot of things going on with this game. But I felt it was kind of easy once we got in and finished that first gameplay. What do you think?
I think it was easy to understand how to play it.
Yes.
Iconography is, once you know it, and you can understand everything that's going on. But there's a lot of different options to take. You can focus on the industry track and building that up. You can focus on building your tracks up. You can focus on getting more engineers. So there's a lot of different choices. So as far as ease there, especially I think the first game, I remember you were sitting there and we're just like, I don't even know where to start. And then after turn 3, we're like, I still don't know where to go, but this is fun.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And there can be some moves in here that you're making because you don't want your opponent to take it.
Yeah, there may be some hate drafting type things. Yeah,
absolutely. And I know did it a lot to me. So,
maybe
but still, there's still a lot of flavor in there. There's a lot of different things that you can do. So even though we may have done that to each other here or there, one, we would probably needed that, but we also wanted to prevent them from getting it because it would stifle their points a little bit. There's still a lot you can do. And, you know, learning the game too and digging into it, we're talking through strategies with each other. Hey, what about if I did this or that? Or, you're trying to hold back a little bit of, I really want to do that myself, but,
But it would benefit you.
yeah, it would actually be a really good idea if you did that and going from there. So there's definitely different areas that you can do, different things that you can do. We definitely want to start digging in and playing at higher player counts. Now that we've got a good feel for the game, we can probably teach some other people and have that learning experience, that learning curve be much, much faster because we already have a good feeling for it. It's not going to change the decision time frame, so there could definitely be some AP in there, but a lot of that is still going to be sitting with the decisions. They are good and chunky decisions, and it's oh man, which one is going to be my best because all of them are going to be good. It's just which one's going to give me the most points at the end of the round.
Yeah. One thing that I found at the beginning was with the 2-player board, they mark off some of the spots so that you can't go there. And so, like, Anthony would go on one that lets him move up his tracks, and that is basically taken out of play for me for the turn. I can't go and move up those tracks. And so I have to adjust and things for the whole rest of that round until we get our workers back and start over. And then hopefully he doesn't go there before I do. But even though he went there, I still have a lot of other options. And later in the game, you might have a personal engineer that will give you that. Or I've had one time where I was able to go up on a track in one spot, which let me go up 4 more places in another track, which let me do something else. Let me go up on my industry track, which gave me a locomotive or something along those lines. It was like turn 4 or so. So we were in the middle of the game, but it was really neat to have all those chain reactions.
Yeah. Happening. And you're not going to have some big glorious turn all the time, but man, if you set things up right, you can have a real good comboing session in here. Now, I notice it's really not a big combo game, but when you get some of those, it is really satisfying because they do escalate, they do build on each other, and you're going to see the points really skyrocket for you that round.
Yeah.
So, well, final thoughts?
Well, actually, I was going to point out something. So we watched a few reviews ourselves, and we heard a couple people saying that, you get to the second to last turn and the last turn, and someone is pulled way ahead, and you know that you can't catch them. And you kind of feel a little bit defeated, kind of like, oh, well, I'll just do what I can. And again, we've only played 2 players, so that may be true for player 4, 4 players, 3 players. But for us, that's not what happened. We did have one person clear out in the front, but then with in-game scoring and with a couple other things, we ended up either being really close or the person coming from behind and outpacing the player that was in the lead.
So. Yeah, in fact, I think our first 2 games, the person who won was actually down 20 to 30 points when we started going into the final round scoring and the in-game scoring points. And they ended up pulling out the win each time. So definitely there's some big swing in points. You notice I did say 20 to 30 points they were down. So there is some big swing in points. But if you're setting things up and you're getting those combos out there, you're going to see a huge change up. And it can, like I said, it can be very satisfying.
Yep. There's not a ton of in-game points. In fact, one of the games that we played, I didn't choose to take an in-game scoring card, so I didn't have a lot of in-game points, but I had been far ahead, and I think that was the third game. I had been like 40, 50 points ahead, and I think we still ended up fairly close.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that in-game scoring, and he did, so that affected things.
Yep. And ended up pulling out the win because of the in-game scoring. So you don't want to ignore certain aspects. You know, you don't have to be the greatest at all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on a couple different things, but you don't want to ignore completely one aspect. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, final thoughts. We started doing this on what, out of 5, keeping the number small, or do you want?
Everybody else does 10, so I'm good going either way.
Okay.
We just did 5 because the first one we did with the kids.
So, all right. So if we want to do 10, kind of how you would rate it on BGG.
So I'm actually going to go with an 8. The first game I absolutely loved. I was like, this is really cool. The second and third game, I wasn't feeling it quite as much. It was kind of, and I don't know if that's just because we played them so close together, and if we spread them out a little bit more, it would be more fun. But especially the third game, I was just like, okay, he went there, I'll go here. He went there, I just kind of going through the motions for me. So probably at the start, it was closer to 9, but now it's down to an 8 for me.
Okay. And, you know, with this being worker placement and having the multiple things, it really kind of sits in my wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. I really like this kind of game. I am with you, though. I think we need to have a higher player count to add more variety to the game, and then start looking at the expansions. So right now, I've actually scored it at about a 7.5 to an 8. So I'm right there with you on this. Okay. I think more game plays, I'm going to probably like it more, but we really need to dig into that, 3-4 player count, as well as jumping in and trying the other expansions and see how they do.
Okay.
So,
sounds good.
But overall, we really like this game. It's a good one. It is a little more difficult to get to the table because it is big, it is chunky, but it's also hard to get. We happen to find it on a pretty good deal for the holidays. So, but if you have a chance to get it, or at least sit down and play it, absolutely recommend doing that. Jump in, play this one. It is in, I think it's in the top 100 on BGG.
I don't know if Ultimate Railroads is or just Russian Railroads.
Okay, but one of them, we look at them as one and the same. So it is there. It is close to the top 100 if it's not in it. Definitely one that we recommend. Yep. So, well, thank you for joining us at the table here for a review, and hope this helps you as you look at the potential of Ultimate or Russian Railroads. Thank you. And please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. Let us know if you've played it, what you think about this game, what you think the best player count is, and any other thoughts that you might have. What are some of the games that you're bringing to the table? Thank you. Have a good one.